Yes, good afternoon, my viewers. However, today we are going to be talking about data analysis and interpretation in qualitative research. Obviously, qualitative research is a different type of research, unlike quantitative, that allows for gathering information without without analyzing it in numbers, but expressing thoughts, feelings, and perception. However, once this data have been gathered, it is important that these data are analyzed using qualitative research approach, data analysis approach. So today we will be talking about data analysis and interpretation in qualitative research, just like I have said earlier. So in this module, we are going to introduce techniques such as thematic analysis, content analysis, and discourse analysis using data analysis software, qualitative data analysis software such as NVivo, such as ATLAS.ti, as well as this emerging tool that artificial intelligence assisted, which is ChatGPT. So we'll be able to understand how to identify patterns, how to identify meanings, how to code, and so on and so forth. So more importantly, during this lecture, we will also practicalize certain things as well as use a sample transcription to understand what we have been discussing. So without wasting much time, I am sure you can see my screen. Basically, the various data analysis techniques, qualitative research. One of the prominent one is known as thematic analysis. This is just like the name implies, theme. It helps to identify, analyze, and report themes within qualitative data. So when you have an interview that has been transcribed, when you want to do thematic analysis, you'll be able to explore the data by identifying and analyzing as well as reporting those themes that will serve as a meaning based on your research question or the objective of the study from the data set. So one of the approach is to be able to code the data and label it appropriately. And the labels or the tag will later be the one to form the theme that you will use for the study. So however, when you want to conduct thematic analysis, you have to first of all familiarize yourself with the data set. And what does that imply? The data so that you will read through what is inside the data so that you can generate what we call initial code. And this initial code will serve as basic things that you will first of all look at from the researcher's perspective before you then search for themes around, because this code will only serve as identifiers. Then you now search for themes that will help you answer your research question. As one of those things that you need to do is that when you search for this theme, you may be biased. You need to review the themes with co-researchers to allow for credibility and to allow for confirmability. By the time you review those themes that you have identified, you will divide them and name them appropriately before you then report the findings based on those themes that you have identified. That is for thematic analysis. This code can be descriptive codes, codes that will just summarize basic topics, can be in vivo coding. Just like I have said, there are some softwares that will also help you code, can be ASIA coding, can be selective coding. So when I say ASIA coding, meaning it will identify links between code, link that will lead you from one thing to another, or help you categorize narratives. So in the real sense, when you want to analyze an interview, for example, analyzing interviews with head teachers in Osun State, you will need to code something like maybe policy inconsistency, maybe motivating staff, maybe parental pressure, because in your interview you have asked them issues that has to do with policy issues, policy consistent with respect to recruitment and selection. You have asked them the issue they have with salary and the likes. So if you are trying to generate code around this, you can generate codes that will help you explain policy issue, how to go about motivating staffs, and parental pressure from uh, from parents of their pupils or the students, as the case may be, as well as leadership challenges. So all these codes, or let's say this team, will be the one that you will then provide narratives based on what as your finding. That's for thematic analysis. Briefly, we also have analysis. Just like you can see on my screen, content analysis is a what? Is a structured technique that counts and categorizes the presence of specific words, theme, or concept within textual data. Just like the name implies, count and categorize. So probably you have interviewed 5 or 7 teachers, and out of 5 or 7, for example, out of 7, maybe 5 of them is saying certain things. So by the time you are able to tell us, oh, people 5 out of 7 are saying this. What you are analyzing is content, unlike thematic that will not even give you frequency, and it will not specifically tell you what they are saying. It will only tell you how what they are saying is related to what you are looking for. Content analysis will help you count and categorize the presence of specific words, themes, or concepts within a what? A textual data, usually a qualitative data. After you have transcribed your interview, you will have qualitative data. It's not only interview that you can transcribe. There are many qualitative data that you need to look at, maybe a word, a theme, or a concept, and you will be able to analyze the content of those data sets. For example, now, maybe there's a media report about teacher strike, and you want to, so by the time you look at the media report, maybe from Punch, from Vanguard, from Tribune, you are now able to look at the 3 media reports, and you are able to see issue of funding in the 3. So that means the 3 of them are talking about funding. You are able to see something that has to do with teacher welfare. So by the time you bring out all these contents specifically, and you help us categorize them after telling us how often they, what you are doing is content analysis. The other one, which is known as discourse, just like the name implies, discourse analysis. What it means is that you are trying to do what? Focus on how the language constructs social reality and power relation. What they are saying, the flow of what they are saying, how it really or is in tandem with what you are looking for. In this case, you said, for example, when you are trying to look at how principal is talking about student discipline, in a focus group discussion, usually we embark on discourse analysis to see how this panel discussion is revolving around what we are asking them, and we're able to bring out a particular explanation to what we are looking for based on what people are saying. So you are trying to see how they use language to construct meaningful reality with respect to what you are specifically looking for. So we have talked about thematic analysis, content analysis, and discourse analysis. There are certain softwares that are already available that can assist you to do all these things without wasting much. One of the softwares is what we know as NVivo, and the other one is also known as ATLAS.ti. So basically, NVivo is widely used. It will help you code, it will help you organize, and help you present your data visually. While ATLAS.ti too is a software that helps you manage and interpret your qualitative data. So, so just like I was saying, these 2 softwares, They will code, they will help you organize it and analyze it, manage it and interpret it. However, they need specialized training before you use them. When I say specialized training before you use them, apart from theoretically understanding how to go about analysis in qualitative research, you need to also specifically understand how to use those softwares. For example now, NVivo is more user friendly while ATLAS.ti is more flexible with coding. But when you talk about analyzing or presenting visual mapping, NVivo will help you present charts, will help you present graph, will help you present map, while ATLAS.ti will make it more advanced and robust. It will give you a concept mapping. NVivo and ATLAS.ti, they can help you manage your data very well, and it will allow for collaboration. That is for NVivo, because you can connect with other researchers on this, your team members on the NVivo collaboration, as well as ATLAS.ti too. So these are specifically what you have in those softwares. That's why I said it will need specialized training. However, there's this emerging one now, which is known as ChatGPT. It's also a tool that can be used in qualitative research. It is artificial intelligence assisted. So ChatGPT will help you use language model to provide support. Take note of that. Analysis, it will help you summarize your interview, it will help you placement. It's only trying to complement you and assist you in doing an interview, and you have transcribed it. You can ask ChatGPT to help you summarize it around what people are saying. It should help you extract them, so that you will be able to use all this as the basis for what you will do. So you should take note. Researchers must maintain data confidentiality and validate AI assisted results using traditional analysis and ethical reviews. That means done, you need to go through it and check it. Since you are putting original data into it, you need to also validate and confirm it by using your own human. So this application will help you suggest code. It will help you some. By the time you generate a code, you can also ask it to link those codes together with respect, and it will help you do what we call reflective journaling. Maybe it will help you organize it in a way that you'll be able to keep tab of what you are doing data set, especially when you have transcribed. Let me ask you this question now. By the time you are using it, it is not going to take over what you are supposed to do. It's only going to help you complement what you are. A postgraduate student, you have 20 teachers, you have interviewed, you have what they have said transcribed. By the time you bring all what they have said together, tell you what the reoccurring theme that you can know professional development from what they are saying. It will bring them out, and you can then bring all these things as codes manually into ATLAS.ti and to complement, not to take over your human intelligence. By the time you have identified codes using whether ATLAS.ti, NVivo, or assist, which is artificial intelligence, you can then do what we call code co frequency analysis or thematic mapping. This will help you how frequently the code is. By the time you are telling us codes like large class size, you can give us percentage of people or respondents that are saying such things, and it will help you give you how many times it is occurring. You can see that some softwares are specifically doing that. So this one will also give more favor and more validation to the result that you are presenting. By the time you are saying 10% of them is talking about poor funding, it implies that you have do what we call code co-occurrence analysis, or what frequency counts using content analysis. You are analyzing your qualitative data, tabulation and validation strategy. How do you So this implies that you need to do what we call data triangulation. Though by the time you get your results, you will be combining the results. That's why we call it data triangulation. Probably you have interviewed, then you also observe to confirm what you are doing. But probably there's a policy document around it to also explore all these same or different interpretation to what you are looking for. So by the time you are result of the interview, you are also complementing it with the observation. Concurrently, you are also telling us what the document is saying. You are going to be giving us results that we can depend upon. Similarly, you can do what we call methodological triangulation, even in your data, thematic analysis and discourse analysis, and present the two results pari passu to see whether they will be giving you the same direction or the same interpretation to what you are expecting. Then you can do what we call theory triangulation. There's what we call phenomenology. I am sure you are exposed to that before now. And there's what we call critical discourse analysis. So if you look at phenomenology, that means you are trying to look at it from their own perspective. You can also do what we call critical discourse analysis. This will help you triangulate your results when you are trying to analyze qualitative data. And more importantly, among your team members, you can also use what we call validation strategies. By the time you are generating your code, you can be biased. So you need to, at least if you have 5 team members, if 4 or 3 out of them is identifying a particular code, and they are also a particular team, it is better. So unlike when you are the only one, you may be biased, and that is an effort to reduce essential bias. You need to allow members to check and give you feedback based on their own interpretation to the data set in front of them, while everybody will also ensure that they are doing it without any iota of bias. And this will allow them to review teams after the team has also been emerged. And when they review those teams among yourself, by the time you get the result, you also audit. You go through what the software have done so that you'll be able to humanize it and present appropriately. So these are approaches. So like I have said earlier, in this an activity, don't let me, this is a sample interview transcript. I am going to copy this sample interview transcript, ChatGPT, for example, and we'll be able to ask certain questions. For example, let me copy and go down. So if I copy and from my explanation above, you want to do what we call thematic analysis. For example, I think I have to copy it one by one, sorry, so that we will not waste much of our time. Then ChatGPT, I will paste. Well, I will share my screen now. I will share my screen about it on ChatGPT. However, before I do that, let me copy this first and then ensure that I have pasted it on ChatGPT appropriately. Anyway, so by the time I am sharing my screen showing you ChatGPT, let me now ChatGPT example prompt. What are the major themes in the interview transcript below regarding head teacher leadership and school effectiveness? So this prompt will help you identify major themes. So let me copy this prompt and share my ChatGPT screen now. Here, I am sure you can see my face now. So while I share the ChatGPT aspect so that we can together. So this is ChatGPT. I am sure you can see it on your screen. I have pasted the what? The transcript interview. So ChatGPT is asking me, what do you want me to do? And so I will just paste the prompt. What are the major themes in the interview transcript below leadership, and school effectiveness. Just like I have told you, it will not replace your human effort, it will only complement. So let us